WoW died again. Not really. This title has never been used before. Get all the trolls out in the comments section right now. Here we go again. World of Warcraft is dead. Let's see what Marcellian has to say about why WoW has died again. Damn it, tongue twister.
WoW is dead. Again. Ha! Got you there, Doomsayer. WoW isn't dead, I think. I mean, YouTube for WoW content creators is dwindling, which makes this confusing, but there are more people playing the game, at least in Mythic Plus, than at any point in the past.
You want to know why content is dwindling? You want to know a good hint of that? Over the weekend on Sunday, I dropped a video where I reacted to somebody saying there is no content to post. So he made a video about he made content about there being no content, and then I reacted to that content and created content out of it. That's the ultimate degeneracy on YouTube now.
Has few expansions, like a lot more. So why then does the game feel dead despite the numbers telling a different story? There are currently at least 4 times more people playing Mythic Plus than ever before. Yes, ever. Even compared to Legion, despite BFA being a more popular Mythic Plus expansion. It is always really difficult to tell how many people are playing the game at one time.
Yeah, they don't release numbers anymore.
Especially since Blizz has stopped making this number public years ago.
Man, that spike in WoD was unbelievable. This felt like WoW was back. I remember this, the hype. Remember how much advertising Blizzard put into it? They put the taxi cab with freaking the axe in it and everything in the middle of Times Square. This shit was popping off, man. WoD, opening day of WoD, that was peak. That was great stuff. Then it was downhill from there.
We can guess, and we can take a pretty good guess. Whether you know what logs are or not, this is a pretty close representation of the player base that we have access to. Logs are essentially people playing the game and recording their log of the game, uploading it to Warcraft logs. People have been doing this since forever, and although not everyone does this, enough people do where we can tell the difference in player base or popularity. We might not be able to tell exactly how many people play the game, but we can tell if there's a difference from season to season. A few weeks ago, I was looking over the numbers from past expansions for the topic of this video, and as of recording this one, Warcraft Logs is doing some with their database for the logs, especially with Legion. Now it says Legion had 6 seasons with a few hundred parses each, or something, which is definitely not what it was before. Legion numbers were just slightly under BFA, and the best BFA season was Season 3 with these numbers that capped at 400,000 parses for the most popular spec, which was Havoc at the time. Similar to Legion, the Dragonflight parses also were messed with. This particular screenshot I took a few weeks back showed Red rocking over 1 million parses, which we mentioned in the Age of Red video. Last week on stream, when we looked again, it said it reached 1.1 million players, which is still a ridiculous numbers for 2 weeks of Mythic Plus, but would make sense if we're talking about numbers in the millions. Obviously, this is just Red, but of course, every other spec has way more people playing them than in previous expansions.
Ret right now, with the Legendary and everything, I mean, you guys have seen, when I form up a raid, if I could half the raid as Ret Paladins at this point. Yeah, Retribution Paladins have taken over. I think there's probably more people playing Ret than ever right now in World of Warcraft.
This doesn't mean we have 1 million Rets doing keys, or that there are a total of 1 million Ret keys done this season. This means there are a lot more keys done, period. The exact number doesn't matter as much as the fact that it's at least double the size of BFA's best season and quadruple that of past Dragonflight seasons.
Yeah, I mean, this season of Mythic Plus has been good because the dungeon pool is good too. It's not overly difficult. I think they've done a good job with the keys and how the affixes work. The way they kind of toggle on up to a certain point, you know, plus 15, then you start to get 3 of them. And the affixes themselves are not that annoying. I would say, personally, for me, this is the most Mythic Plus I've done since Legion. When Legion was out, I was in law school. I used to fucking run Mythic Plus between classes like all the time. I ran a shit ton of Mythic Plus in Legion. That was good stuff. But since then, I started to drop off little by little. And then I really wasn't running much Mythic Plus towards the end of Shadowlands at all. And then it kicked back on for this season. This season's the most I've run in a long time. And I think it's a credit to the Mythic Plus season being pretty good.
are about as popular as
World
any
of
Shadowlands or
Pinkcraft
BFA's
Redlands.
normal seasons.
Basically.
Even the latest snippet on Warcraft logs showing 800,000 parses and not the over 1 million I saw a few weeks back still points to the same conclusion. Now, I'm not exactly sure what is going on with their data. Maybe
look
1
at
million
Demon Hunter, man. Fucking gee. Vengeance and
was
Havoc
misrepresentative. Maybe they lost some of the data. Either way, it's still vastly more than any time before, which is a clear indication that people like to do keys now more than ever, which is the important part. And part of liking to do keys more than ever is liking how your character looks with a transmog on, and even better, having that transmog as a wallpaper on your desktop, like I do, and like all of these people do with their amazing transmogs for their characters. What do they all have in common? They are a part of our Patreon that supports our content. Yes, sirree. If you go to patreon.com/MarcellianOnline, link down below,
there it is.
you'll be able to have access to a lot of goodies that we offer in exchange for the support of our patrons that, you know, help us make all of the content, keep the lights up, and all of that. 4K wallpapers with your transmog is one of the benefits that you get on top of having access to bloopers, early access to videos, and other things as well. Of course, it's not required, but we super appreciate and are grateful for any support that we get. And if you do decide to help us out, or at least check it out to see maybe there's something there for you, check the link down below. Whether it is subjective or not, keys are more fun now than ever. The annoying affixes are gone. The seasonal affix is no more. The dungeon pool is
the changes to affixes are a huge reason as to why this season is so much more successful. Affixes had become deliberately annoying, and they just made the game not fun.
Come, let us lay waste to this realm.
Kill a legend. Thank you for the follow and welcome to our Scourge. Yeah, it was a tough thing to deal with. Sometimes there were weeks where like everyone just said the FXs suck this week. I'm not running Mythic Plus. That shit used to happen. Now I feel like the rotation's gotten much better, and the seasonal shit's gone. It's all around. This is the best we've seen in a long time.
Refreshing. The specs are more interesting and fun to play, while the overall keys are easier to do. Doing a +20 now feels like a +15 in previous seasons.
It's always better.
But these are just...
There are always some that are better than others, but overall, the affix pool is better now.
Numbers. What we can say for sure is that it is more enjoyable to play Mythic Plus in 10.2.5 or Season 3 overall than ever before, regardless of the constant shift in data numbers.
Agreed.
So, is WoW dead or not? Well, first of all, WoW being dead is a meme, guys. We just have to get over it. WoW has been pronounced...
I told you guys earlier, I would literally, every video I post on YouTube, somebody comes into the comments who just like their life's goal is to hate on World of Warcraft. They made it part of their personality. They're going to come into the comment section and be like, dude, you're still making content for this dead game? I'm like, what the... Like I said before, they're just telling the algorithm they might want more World of Warcraft videos. They're going into WoW content and commenting on it and watching it. It's such like a level of degeneracy I've never seen before. It only exists here.
Every expansion for over a decade, and yet still here we are. And to be fair, if it didn't fully die in Shadowlands during the Sanctum of Domination raid and the big scandal, it won't die now. That isn't to say that the game didn't suffer in numbers, development, or other areas, which we will uncover in this video. But saying it's dead is just old and boring. There are still a lot of people that are either loyal to the game, don't really play any other games, or simply have WoW as a part of their life that they cannot give up. It could be because of nostalgia or an emotional attachment that developed over the years, since WoW means a lot to a lot of people. WoW has been such a cultural phenomenon that it transcended the status of just a video game or just an MMO.
It's true.
For some people, it is an escape into a world of activity that presents less stress, that can help them unwind and engage their brain with different things than their bills and jobs, family.
Well put. I mean, I would say, I've said it before, I'll play this game even when it sucks, when it's not that great, and I play it when it's great. Why is that? Because, I don't know, I feel like my time invested in WoW is my favorite way to invest time into video games. I don't get much joy out of other games, really. So when WoW is giving me a lot of joy, it's great, and when it's not, it's still probably giving me more than most games would. So I just enjoy playing WoW. I've been that way since 2005. Maybe it's nostalgia keeping me playing the game, but it's the game I enjoy the most, and it's the game I'll continue to play. I just enjoy it more when it's good. So hopefully
issues and
it
so
stays
on.
good or
For
gets
others,
good.
it could be a social place for their friends group. We have heard the legends of women also playing video games and meeting their significant others in WoW. So attachments and bonds with the game could have formed this way. All of this would explain why the game didn't die before and why it will likely never die unless the devs just pull the plug on it.
Yeah.
Now, does the game deserve its players? Maybe. It definitely didn't feel it deserved its players at some points in the past. Fact of the matter is,
100% we grew up
players
with it.
are here, and World of Warcraft is kicking. It might not be of much interest to you specifically, but
Here's one thing that I like to tell people. If an MMO came out today, they would be considered a massive success if they got the numbers that World of Warcraft currently has. If an MMO came out today and got the subscription numbers that World of Warcraft has right now, it would be considered one of the most successful games of our generation. Oh, it'll be a huge hit. But because World of Warcraft's at the numbers it's at, because it's off from its peak, it's a dead game. It's a dead game. So it's all about perspective. But as far as MMOs go, it's still king. It truly is. Final Fantasy, it's great. It's good for have competition. It's better for us to have competition for a while, so it keeps them on their toes, keeps them putting out good shit. But it's still king. Come on.
World of Warcraft
Nobody
YouTube
has
content
unseated
has
the
been
king.
unpopular for the better part of a year. And not just for our channel, but bigger creators like Bellular and Taliesin have suffered a significant drop in viewership.
Oh,
Although
that's
this
good.
is
I started making content like 3 years ago. So I picked the perfect time. Perfect. Yeah, nice.
whatever info for some people.
well.
For us, it usually meant that the game is not trending
I make
or
it 'cause
not
I like
played
it.
as much. Or it's that period when people take a break only to come back later when a
just
new
buying low,
patch
Sam,
or
that's right.
expansion hits. And that is true for some people, since WoW has become a seasonal type game. But some things don't make sense and haven't made sense since Dragonflight released. And because of these weird things, you have seen videos on our channel and other channels as well talking about them. Dragonflight is a much better expansion than Shadowlands and BFA
Oh, yeah.
from a technical standpoint.
Definitely.
Think about it, or try to remember how these other two have been. BFA had enormous issues with Azerite
Azerite
armor.
armor.
The
Oh,
way you
God.
acquired it was bullshit back in the day. The fact that you had to pay gold to reset your Azerite to other powers was also bullshit.
shitty gold sync.
And if you really remember, the gold prices were goddamn ridiculous. After they were fixed, we were still confronted with boring Azerite traits that were also
It's
replacing
a remnant of WoD, man. The gold sinks that Blizzard has tried to implement to get the WoW gold economy back down, it's been tough. WoD ruined it. WoD was an economical effect, kind of like COVID paychecks were. It's kind of like real life. Economists have studied World of Warcraft's economy because it does act like a real economy. When you pump a bunch of money into your economic system, it devalues all the money. It's very hard to bring that value back. Just like all the free money they gave out during COVID, interest rates are high. They're still trying to recover from that shit. Who knows? What they got to do in real life is give us a Longboy mount with an auction house. That's what we need. If they can do that in real life, I guarantee a lot of people pay money for that. There
tier
you go.
sets. Because, yes, in Legion we had tier sets, and the idea of BFA was to take a break from tier
Why
sets
did
and
you
have
start?
Azerite instead, which was
Yeah, I did start an hour ago. Yeah, it's
mildly
daylight
putting
savings
it
and
not popular.
we switched
And
back
after
the
this, we
clocks.
were introduced to essences in 8.2. That, as a system, worked really well in offsetting the
A real-life
Azerite
mount,
friction. But they were
a real-life dinosaur mount. Yep, that'll fix the economy.
incredibly annoying to acquire once again. For one of them, you had to do hundreds of battlegrounds to get. For another, you had to do arenas. And of course, PvP
Oh, yeah, the Heart
players
of
were
Azeroth.
forced to do their share of raids and keys to get the ones they needed as well, and quite a few of them also. The issues were also with corruptions, which, similar to Azerite and Essences, most people only remembered the good times when they were easy to acquire. But corruptions were all RNG until late into the season when the vendor was introduced that had corruptions on a 5 or more week rotation. And when
That's always the moment where you know you fucked up, when they implement a system that essentially needs a vendor to fix the whatever it was, the drop rate, fix the gear, fix what. Whenever they got to add a vendor retroactively to fix what they did, you know you done fucked up. Yeah, it was a mistake for sure.
the week with your ideal one came up, you likely couldn't buy all that
Holds
you
the bad
wanted,
area, watch
so
out.
most of the times you had to wait a full cycle again. Wasn't great. People dubbed BFA the worst expansion WoW ever had.
It wasn't.
Little did they know, they just had to wait for the next one to reiterate
I
that.
actually look back on BFA in terms of like theming and the story, and I look back at BFA kind of fondly. I think it was pretty good. I do. I don't know. Call it rose-colored glasses or whatever you want to, rose-colored goggles, whatever you want to say about it. I look back on BFA and I'm like, damn, that wasn't a bad expansion. That was pretty fun. Now, maybe because Shadowlands came after, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what a bad expansion actually looks like. That could have been it, but yeah, falling off. Um, but overall, I look back at BFA. I enjoyed Kultiris. Zandalar was kind of annoying in terms of flying up and down that pyramid, but the aesthetics of it were nice. I enjoyed the Kultirans and the Zandalari trolls as races. The stories were pretty good. The cutscenes weren't too bad. And the what's it called? All this corruption shit. Corrupted Gear broke the game at the end, but it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun. So overall, I look back at it and I'm like, yeah, Azerite Gear sucked, but overall, it wasn't too bad.
Statement, and I think that says everything we need to say about Shadowlands.
Also, Battle for Dazar Lore, still one of my favorite raids they've ever put in the game. That was a good raid, man.
Yet Dragonflight came out swinging with full talent resets. You would be entirely entitled to call these class reworks. Reworks in the sense that the old talents, the passives, and spells were all scrapped and placed into this new talent tree.
These are good talent trees. These are good talent trees. I think this is the best spot talents have been in a while. And now they're adding hero talents on top of it, so they might fuck it up. I don't know, but overall, I actually like these talent reworks. I think these talent trees have been pretty fun
into this new talent tree. They are reworks in the sense that now you could match certain things that you couldn't match before, like Ice Cap with Obliteration for Frost Decays, which in Shadowlands were on the same talent row and unable to be picked together. Talent revamp was something we needed for years, and we got them. The story of Dragonflight not being a weird cosmological story was also a great addition after Shadowlands. Dragons, Tuskars, and Centaurs brought us back to core WoW identities. The zones were a big refreshing change from the Maw and Korthia. Professions were made relevant. Mythic Plus was improved. Tier sets came back. Granted, last patch of Shadowlands had them too, but this time, once again, as a pillar of gear.
Can I just say, for transmog purposes, these tier sets have been some of the coolest ones I've seen in a long time. And I played Death Knights, so I've been enjoying the tier sets a lot. I think these are good freaking tier sets that I will transmog into for many expansions going forward. They're good, man. They're good. I was glad to see class-specific tier sets come back.
Dragon riding, reputation revamp, so many things we have been asking for that they've actually delivered. So why? Well, there were some of the obvious changes that people didn't vibe with that we and many others have talked about before, where, to summarize it quickly...
I think the main reason why Dragonflight hasn't been seen as like an overall successful expansion is the story. The story matters. Story matters a lot in an MMO, but more than I think people realize. Like, most people who like, oh, I don't give a shit about the story, it's just the gameplay. That's not true, because if that was true, Dragonflight would be like the best expansion ever, because gameplay-wise has been pretty good. But the story is so, how you say, I don't know, friendly? It just doesn't feel like a World of Warcraft story. And you need that good story to motivate you. Like, I was so motivated in Legion to go beat the shit out of Gul'dan after what he did to Varian. Like, that was motivation. That was a motivational story. That was a good story. Watching Illidan blow a Naru apart, like, the story was so good in Legion that it motivated you to keep progressing. You wanted to see what was going to happen next. You cared about playing. You felt like there was purpose behind what your character was doing. In Dragonflight, it's like, wait, what are we doing here? Are we gathering flowers or something to give it to the other factions so that we can have, you know, have some weird intercourse happiness moment? I don't know. Yeah, rip our poor king. Yeah. That was motivation. That was war. That was badass, intense. Why do people look back at Wrath of the Lich King so fondly? It's because the Lich King, the story was so good. The fight, fighting Arthas, that fight's an alright boss fight. But the reason why it's so epic is because the story behind the Lich King and Arthas Menethil and all, it's such a climactic moment in the game. It's so badass to do that fight, to be part of that fight, to kill him. And, you know, Dragonflight, I mean, has there been a boss that I've been motivated to kill? Sakareth? I'm going to forget about that guy probably the week after this expansion ends. I won't even remember him as a boss. I don't know. Farak was very anticlimactic. He was actually built up decently, and then we just kill him, and we don't even acknowledge his death. He's like lying there, dead body, all the aspects get their fucking glowy Cinderella powers back. They're all emotional about it and shit. Viranoth is not even acknowledging the fact that her brother just was killed. Right in front, he's laying there dead. Nothing happened. It was a very weird ending and nothing climactic about it. I'm not going to remember that shit. I don't care about that. The story matters. Even for people who say it doesn't matter to them, subconsciously it does, trust me. And that was Dragonflight's main folly, was the story was just not that good.
WoW lost a lot of its identity, personality, and soul, things that created epicness, coolness, badassery, and awesome stuff in the past.
I never cared about Mario
Mario. And those are the
Bros.
concepts that the majority of players cared for, the vast majority of them
Different
being
game
casual
type.
players. Casual players make the backbone of WoW, and by casual, I
imagine you were playing Mario games. Yeah, you didn't care about the lore, but you know, Princess Peach didn't exist, Donkey Kong doesn't exist. You're just a fucking Italian plumber running through, you know, side-scrolling shit. You know, there were a lot of side-scrollers back then. You want to know what separated Mario? It wasn't just gameplay. It was story. Mario had a story. Cool story. Save the princess. There you go.
Mostly I'm referring to people who maybe cleared the radar normal, who maybe do a few low Mythic plus keys, nothing fancy,
sure,
nothing
Tidal.
over plus 10 or 15. And I would know, I was one of them. Casual players that farm pets and mounts, achievements, reputations, or renown in this case, and so on. Since our videos and many others revolve around providing digestible, often educational content to people who play a bit more casually, dropped in views as you would expect, since those players either don't play WoW anymore or are waiting for War Within. Because my guess is those players engaged or cared for the soul of the game way more than all the other technical improvements of World of Warcraft. While the players that care about Mythic Plus design, proper raid loot tables and boss skills, gear progression, and high-end achievements are also the people that love the current content, since the content they love is actually really good.
Agreed.
So it won't be that surprising that those are also the people logging and maybe watching channels like Max from Liquid, which unsurprisingly I also enjoy. Now, I don't know what the analytics are for Max's channel, but I assume he's getting a pretty decent engagement from the people currently playing the game. The game is currently designed for, catered to, and enjoyed by the more hardcore audience.
Yeah.
We never considered
I mean, it goes to the same problem that we just talked about on Friday, when we went into the whole Mythic, you know, Mythic rating is dying kind of thing, or Mythic rating that's an issue right now. That's the truth, is Mythic rating is crazy difficult. So the people who enjoy that kind of content, the 0.01% who are clearing Mythic raid, they think this is great. It's good time. Good. WoW is great right now. But the problem is that's such a small niche group of people, and that's what WoW has become, is it caters to this niche group, unfortunately. So all the casual people just feel like, well, they kind of been pushed out of the game, which is not good because that's the majority of the player base. WoW is a casual man's MMO. That's how it's always been. That's why it was so popular. People who wanted to play hardcore. You know what people who played EverQuest back when WoW came out? You know what they thought about WoW? Fucking noobs. That's what they thought. That ain't no MMO. That's a bunch of bullshit. That's a fucking MMO with training wheels. That's the truth. But that's what made WoW so popular. That's why. You got to put the training wheels back on, man. It ain't no bitch out. It ain't no comp out. It's just the game is way too bloated and difficult. It needs to be tailored back a little bit and just made fun again. Good story, good gameplay. It's fun. That's it.
Ourselves hardcore,
EverQuest
but not sure if we are casuals either. We like to Mythic raid and push keys over 22s and 23s, and numbers-wise, we are...
I'm telling you, more people care about lore than they realize. People care about lore more than they think. It's not 2%. It's way more than that. Because even if you think you don't care about lore, mentally, it does affect you. It does.
In the high-end minority, regardless of how we like to label ourselves here at Marcellian Online. And we enjoy the current version of the game, but we are also fans, or maybe were fans, of the story, lore, setting, characters, and have openly criticized the design of Dragonflight's boring, mellow, weepy, and wishy-washy design of the soul of the game.
Yeah.
That would explain a lot. It would explain why it seems for some people that the game is dying, and it would explain why the others are out there saying, what the hell are you guys talking about? The game is definitely not dying. The game has a smaller player base, but the player base is giga infested and plays the shit out of the game. At least the numbers are indicating as much. What does this mean though? Well, after the back-to-back disasters of BFA and Shadowlands, the devs have started to make WoW have a comeback. And it looks like the combat is starting from the technical side first, and we can only hope it continues to the surface as well. The surface that has cool characters doing epic stuff like jumping off an airship, stab a big-ass robot.
Man, this is fucking storytelling. What a great freaking moment this was. Damn it. We need shit like this again. This is why I'm glad Metzen's back, because I think he can fix the story side of things. God, what happened to fucking sacrificing yourself, dropping your blade into the head of an epic beast, and exploding it in a one-shot? Now we just got a bunch of hugging and shit.
Or have an epic duel of fates under the...
We got our first in-game kiss. That's what we got out of Dragonflight.
Storms of Nagrand. You know, stuff that's so foreign to characters like Nosdomo and Alexstrasza that you are asking yourself, who am I even fighting for? War Within, with Metzen at the helm, looks like it's wanting to bring back the cool and epic. The stuff that a lot of people might engage with and come back for. The kind of people that, whether we like to admit it or not, make the game feel alive. WoW is not dead, it's changing, and it will take a few expansions to do it. But it is good, and it's getting better, and being on the journey is more fun than we thought. As fun as the upcoming hero talents though? Well, check it out right in this video. The new 8 have been announced last week, and they are looking better and better with each new iteration.
Alright, yeah, finish it off with the hero talents, that's great. Yeah, WoW's not dead. WoW's not dead. I'm sure when I post this video, react shit, people are gonna say it is. But it's not. It's here, it's alive, and it'll stay alive for the foreseeable future. The only thing that can kill WoW is WoW. That's a good thing.